just come here and joined us. Yay. And I always, hopefully this one will be better than last week. Anyway, so this is called Getting into Heaven. Hey, like I said, I can't hit 100%. After a long illness, a woman died and arrived at the gates of heaven. While she was waiting for St. Peter to greet her, she peeked through the gate. She saw a beautiful banquet table. Sitting around were her parents and all the other people she had loved and who had died before her. They saw her and began calling greetings to her. Hello, how are you? We've been waiting for you. Good to see you. When St. Peter came by, the woman said to him, this is such a wonderful place. How do I get in? You have to spell a word, St. Peter told her. Which word? The woman asked. Love. The woman correctly spelled love, and St. Peter welcomed her into heaven. About 6 months later, St. Peter came to the woman and asked her to watch the gates of heaven for him that day. While the woman was guarding the gates of heaven, her husband arrived. I'm surprised to see you, the woman said. How have you been? Oh, I've been doing pretty well since you died. I married the beautiful young nurse who took care of you while you were ill. And then I won the lottery. I sold the little house you and I lived in and bought a big mansion. And my wife and I traveled all around the world. We were on vacation and went water skiing today. I fell, the ski hit my head, and here I am. How do I get in? You have to spell a word, the woman told him. Which word, her husband asked. Czechoslovakia. Whoa. Whoa. I know, right? That was cute, I know. That's off of Belief Net. It's like where a lot of the ministers get their jokes. It's cute. Well, this week I had the talk title called Designing Within, and I thought, what the heck? What is that about? And then I found this fabulous book, and the name of the book was Designing Your Life, How to Build a Well-Lived, Joyful Life. And it's written by these two men, and they actually teach this course at Stanford University. And so for all of the young people that are graduating, they're teaching them how to create a formula to do not just go get a job, to actually, I know, I like that, to help them find something that feeds them, that makes them feel happy, that makes them feel more creative, rather than just doing a job to be doing a good job. And in the book, he's talking about how people, they just, they just do it out of rote, and they can't wait for the weekend. Anybody ever have a job like that? So it's really, so they want to encourage people to have a fabulous job. And Barbara Urbanus isn't here, but it fits along with what she was saying. We were sitting down and we were doing a session together, and she was talking about it was either a brother or brother-in-law. And what she said, he had worked for a nonprofit and he made okay money, but they had to let him go. And so then he had to find another job. So he was able to find a job working with a nun, who is called the Nun Run, and I don't know what it is, but it's her expansion of a nonprofit, and that he was able to get a job with her, and because of his background as working in that field, he's able to help her expand it, and they do all these wonderful things, and they are actually bringing the program to other countries. So now, not only does he make more money, he's traveling with her, and he gets to expand and to help more people in the world. So that's an example of what these people are talking about in designing your life and how to live it well. So the things that they said, we have to have 5 mindsets. And Ernest Holmes, I found a great passage that goes along with this, because what we teach here is that we can have and be and do anything we want in life. We tell our children that, but hopefully it gets into them. My daughter, I think, took it in, so it's great. So she has a great life. But just because you make a lot of money doesn't mean you're going to be happy, right? I mean, it's going to make you more comfortable, probably, but it's not necessarily going to make you more happy. So I watch and I notice, it doesn't matter whether somebody has a little bit of money or a lot of money, it still comes to down, how can I design my life in such a way that I feel great, and I feel happy, and I feel fulfilled, and I feel joyful. And as I'm reading this book, because I got a little sample sent to me off of my Kindle, and I thought, this is great for anybody who wants to retool their life. Anybody want to retool your life? And he talks about how it doesn't matter your age. You know, you just have to go ahead and decide what you decide to do. Joanne Murmas here has now been a manager. Yay! You did it before, but now you're doing your second round of it, right? But it's great because she does what she loves, and she gets acknowledged for that. So one of the things they said, there's 5 mindsets. One is curiosity. And they took the example of, any of you watch, not Bill Gates, Steve Jobs. There was a movie about him. It didn't make him look really great, actually, but that's all right. But what I thought about in this book is that it talked about that engineers or people who are creating things have to have a lot of curiosity. And they teach that in this course in order for people to move forward in their lives. And so I thought, okay, so if you have curiosity, maybe about something that you want to pursue, something like that. And then the second mindset was bias to action. In other words, get curious and then go experience it and try something out for a change. And if you don't make it and you fail, that's okay, because that's part of being successful, isn't it? And then the third one was reframing. So instead of saying, oh, I did horrible in that, you reframe and go, gee, I had a great opportunity and look at all the skills I learned from doing that. And when I'm reading this, I'm thinking, I had bought some property in Texas. Ooh, that just put me beyond the 8 ball. And so what happened, I learned a lot. I learned not to ever do that again and buy property in another state. Okay, so I had to reframe it because eventually it worked out well for me because it helped me with my income taxes, okay? So you always look for the bright side, you know, what's the song of Brian? Always look for the bright side of life, okay? Yeah, you can start singing it because it's true. So if you reframe it and make it different, then instead of negativity, okay? Then the other, number 4 was awareness. And to just be aware of what's around us and be present to what's available to us. Because every single one of us, it doesn't matter how young or old, we can create a life that's joy-filled. And then the last one, it kind of fits with what's going on at the center right now. I had an epiphany, and then we all of course, we all have the same idea at the same time, that we will create more by having collaboration. We're going to create more by having community, rather than just the Rev, or just Roxy, or just Denise, or just Joanne, or just Darylyn. It doesn't matter. If we come together as a group and we bring ideas to each other, that's going to help this place grow and expand. So they're talking about read the book, then find 2 or 3 people to read the book with you, and that you can create a little group and help each other if you're looking to expand and you want to make more money or you want to have a better relationship. It doesn't matter what it is, because you're inventing, you're creating, you want to have something new in your life. Because lately I've been thinking, wow, what would be fun to do in addition to what I'm doing now? Have any of you ever thought about that? And whether it's money or whether it's just learning a new skill. And it's really a great way for us to expand and to have more in our lives and more joy. Because if we just keep doing the same thing over and over, how do you feel when you do that?
Bored.
Yes, bored, exactly. And you know, it's like, okay, and then when we learn something new, how do we feel? Great. You feel like you have a sense of accomplishment, you know, and then you're ready to go to the next thing. So I was at we were playing a game, it's called Chicken Foot. Do you guys know what Chicken Foot is?
No.
Okay, it's a domino game, but you know, it's really cute. But anyway, so it's fun. And one of the gals there, she's probably in her early 60s, and we were talking, and she's in ministerial school at, I think, Claremont. And we were just sharing, and she says, yeah, I don't want to be a pulpit minister, but I want to do something that will be fun and that I'll be able to use my ministry, so I'm kind of being with that. And I thought, that's great, because that way she's going to take it, she's going to try different things in order to create that in her life. So with that, there's a reading that I found from Ernest Holmes, and it's called The Divine Givingness. It's kind of like what Ije was singing about. And in it, it says, it's the nature of spirit to give. Spirit is the essence of life as well as the intelligence back of everything. It is complete and perfect within itself. It is all-powerful and all-presence. We have nothing to offer nature other than a willingness to cooperate with her laws. And what these guys are really talking about, these two men, is that we're using those natural laws in order to create what we desire in our lives. If we are to demonstrate that the divine givingness is a principle in the universe, then we must set up a receiving center. For no matter how abundantly the horn of plenty may pour out its universal gifts, there must be a bowl of acceptance, a chalice of expectancy, or the gift cannot be complete. And how many of you have had that happen, or do you understand that concept? And what the concept is we have to, I always say, okay, we can have a little teacup. I can accept this teacup full of goodness, or we can have a bowl, or we can have a little wading pond, right? Or we can have a swimming pool. But it's to really increase that, I'm going to say, receptivity in order for us to have that in our lives. And it's the same thing that designing our lives from within is talking about. It's talking about how we can create, be, do, and have anything we want. And I used to tell my daughter that all the time, all the time, all the time. And I'll share you an example of this. So she was continuously, she went to USC and she ended up getting in the Marshall Business School. And what ended up happening, she got a job at an advertising agency. Remember the Devil in Prada? That was her boss, okay, at a big advertising firm. Yeah, so she says, oh, Mom, you remember the Devil in Prada? That's my boss. And I said, well, what do you want? So what she would do every 6 months or so, if she was not happy, she was doing what these guys were saying. If you're not happy, you've got to retool what's going on in your life. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to move on to something else, and sometimes it does. So it's interesting, because I also had another client that happened to, but I'll get back to my daughter. So what happened, she kept saying, okay, I want this kind of environment, I want these kind of friends, I want this kind of a boss, I want this income. And she would write it down, she would tell me and nobody else, because she didn't want anybody else to put the kibosh on it. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because sometimes that negativity, you want somebody that's going to be in agreement with you, in harmony with you. So invariably, I am not kidding you, this is how fast. Her cup, she didn't have a teacup. That girl had a bathtub, all right? So she, and within a week or two, had another job with those qualities. And then be careful what you wish for, because then there was another set of problems. So the problems, that's what these guys are saying, didn't reframe it, opportunities for her to get into something even better. And that's where we teach this. So Science of Mind teaches us that we're going to have something that we desire, and then we go, that's not quite it. So then we have to restate it, redo the prayer in order to make it better in our lives. And so she then, okay, this is job number, I don't know, she did it like 4 or 5 times. So let's say, okay, number 3, number 2. So she did it again. This kind of environment, this kind of job, this kind of boss, and on and on and on. So eventually she ended up at like a boutique advertising agency, and this is how spirit works. This is where she met her current husband, all right? And what was interesting, everything was against these two, because he's Armenian, and the family did not want a white girl to be marrying their son, okay? But what ended up happening is that they kept knowing the truth for themselves, and to this day, now they're in a great relationship with all of the family, and I call it the big fat Armenian family, not the big fat, what is it, my Greek wedding? Yeah. So it's the same way. It's so great. It's so great to be in these cultures, I'm telling you. But anyway, so what ended up happening at the very end of her career, you know, when she decided to have babies and then she had to leave her job, so she said, gee, really, I would like to have more, Mom. And I said, well, you're already making really good money. I don't care, I want more. I'm like, okay, she's now got the lake, and she's ready to receive it. So what ended up happening in the same job, she was able to become the boss because her boss took off, had a baby, and then my daughter was able to have this great opportunity to meet her husband, and they now have 2 kids together. And it was really just like the stepping stone. So the universe is going to bring you these opportunities, but we have to use the creativity of God and the mind of God in order to have that happen in our lives. And we also have to have that receptivity in order to make it happen. And sometimes we think we have the receptivity, but if things ain't working in your life, start visioning on having a bigger bowl of receptivity. Think about the pool. I look out at my pool, I go, okay, I can receive as much as my pool, or I could receive as much as that lake over there. So what Ernest Holmes goes on to say is, the Spirit not only gives, but it also creates the channel through which His giving may become our receiving. In other words, the bowl of acceptance which we hold beneath the outpouring horn of plenty is itself a part of the divine givingness. For how could there be a givingness unless there were an equal receivingness? What I've been talking about. It is receivingness which fulfills the givingness, and the interaction is complete only when our bowl of acceptance is full. So instead of pushing it away, we were talking about this in class last week, the 4 agreements, and it was about, people in the class were saying, I just need to say thank you. Because part of saying thank you and being grateful is the bowl of receptivity, is not? And then she says, I said, and then say you're welcome. Remember Juana and he's singing the song, You're Welcome? So it's really that too, and creating that energy. And when you create that energy and that receptivity, you're going to have more come to you. It was like, oh, this old thing, you know, or whatever people are saying. And that's really what we want to do. So be present to that. How you want to design your life, how you want to design from within you is creating that receptivity in order to have that move into your life. So there's a great meditation prayer I'm going to close with in the back of Living the Science of Mind. And you probably don't even know it's there. Even Dara Lynn, who's a practitioner, I didn't remember it was here. So let's go ahead, and I want to close with this. I know there is a power for good, which is responding to me and bringing into my experience everything that is necessary for my unfoldment, to my happiness, to my peace, to my health, and to my success. I know there is a power for good that enables me to help others and bless the whole world. So I say quietly to myself, there is only one life, that life is God, that life is perfect, that life is my life now. It is flowing through me, circulating in me. I am one with its rhythm. My heart beats with the pulsation of the universe in serenity and peace and in joy. My whole physical being is animated by the divine spirit, and if there is anything in it that does not belong, it is cast out because there is one perfect life in me now. You want to say that with me? There is one perfect life in me now. Because as things are happening, I can't remember who said that to me. Something was going awry in my life, and they said, just keep saying that. Keep saying that. And I say to myself, I am daily guided, so I shall know what to do under any circumstance, in every situation. Divine intelligence guides me in love and joy and complete self-expression. Desiring that the law of good alone shall control me, and I bless and prosper everything I am doing. I multiply every activity. I accept and expect happiness and complete success. We're going to say that together. I accept and expect happiness and complete success. I love it. Okay, we're almost there. Realizing that I am one with all people, I affirm that there is a silent power flowing through me and them, which blesses and heals and prospers, makes happy and glad their pathway. And realizing that the world is made up of people like myself, boy, is that the truth, I bless the world and affirm that it shall come under the divine government of good. Ooh, divine government of good. So when you start going crazy about the news, just go, no, there is a divine government of good, under the divine providence of love, and under the divine leadership of the supreme intelligence. Woo! This is awesome. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen and hallelujah. All right. Woo! Thank you, beloveds. Have a great week.